and welcome to Sketch Together. My name is Pablo Stanley, and today I'm going to show you my favorite Sketch plugins 2017 edition. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not going to be talking about prototyping tools or developer handoff plugins or version control plugins. I'm going to probably leave those to a different video. These are going to be more focused on workflow and just making your life easier as a designer. Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna get started with probably one of the most useful plugins out there, which is Runner. Runner is like the plugin for plugins, the king of the plugins, if you must say. It's like a spotlight for Sketch. You can run different actions, you can find different layers or artboards, you can jump to a specific artboard, to a specific layer, you can insert different symbols or different stuff from a library, and you can also even install other plugins. And that's why I'm starting with that one, because you install this one and then you'll be able to install the rest of the plugins. It has a keyboard shortcut, a command apostrophe, and then it just like opens this search bar. And this search bar just allows you to run, I don't know, some action, just like bitmap, for example, file item selection to bitmap, or you can go to a specific page intro, for example, or rename it. There you go. It finds those things. And you can also insert different symbols that I have from my library. It's always just like updating this. And then also you can install different plugins. So for example, here it suggests you some of the better plugins. And apparently I also have some updates. I can even update from here. That's pretty cool. I didn't know that I needed an update. So yeah, just go to sketchrunner.com. It's really useful, and this one is going to allow you to install the rest of the plugins. Let's go to another one called Calendar Creator, and this is pretty descriptive of what it does. It creates a calendar with 7 columns, like for 7 days, and it actually makes creating a calendar super easy, which kind of feels like cheating. So for example, here I'm going to go to Plugins, 7 columns calendar, and then I'm going to select December. On this window, you select what is the day that you want to start, also the month and the year, and this will create an actual calendar exactly like a real calendar with those dates. And there you go. I have here my calendar. I'm going to put it over here. And pretty useful because it also has nested symbols, so I can say, for example, this one is the start of a trip. And all of these days in the middle, let's say that the last day is going to be 14. So these days in the middle, I'm going to say multi-row middle. And now the 14 is going to be the cap at the end. I just put it like this. And now it just like kind of tells me of a trip that I have planned. Or for example, 4, let's say that today is 4. So it creates an accent here. And all of this are symbols, so you can just edit them and make them your own. Also, something pretty cool, you can start with just a group or a layer that has a text layer. So for example, this one, I'm going to create a symbol out of this and I'm going to test. I'm going to call it, and then with this symbol created that has one text layer, I'm able to just like go to 7 columns calendar, yes, create, and there you go. It created a calendar with that symbol. So that way you can start designing your own day on your calendar and then create a calendar with this one. Pretty cool. Now, this one is really useful when you are creating your text styles in a document and you have everything really well organized, but then you want to export this to a different document and it's going to be a little bit hard. So this actually allows you to just export your text styles from one file and you're able to import them to a different file. So for example, here I have a file where I have multiple text styles. This is a file that I've been working on, and if I select a text, you'll see that I have a ton of different text styles, and I even group them, and everything is looking really cool. But now I want to use these same text styles in a different document. So all I have to do is go to Plugins, Share Text Styles, Export Text Styles, and I'm going to export it right here, Sketch Files, Text Styles, and then in a new document, in this new document, obviously there's no text styles. I just selected here. As you can see, there are no text styles. But if I go to Plugins and then Import Text Styles, and I just like select that JSON file that it created, now I'm going to be able to select all of those different text styles that I had in the other document. So I go here and boom, I have everything here. Let's add an H2 that is large and it's center, and boom, pretty cool. Now, this one is really simple, but really powerful. This one allows you to copy any image from the web, from Slack, from your messages, or even a screenshot, and then use that image that you have on your clipboard as a fill into a shape. It's pretty useful because the alternative to that will be to having to download the image and then put it inside your shape, and I don't know, it's a lot of work. So for example here, I'm going to go to Google Chrome and I have some images here, and I'm going to select this image. I'm going to copy this image, and then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste that image. Plugins, clipboard fill, and look at that. Now I have that image as a fill. Pretty useful. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to copy a different image. There you go, this one is looking good. And I know I'm saying image. I'm sorry, it's my accent that is really bad. Anyway, here, clipboard fill, and boom, just like that. Super quick and super easy. You're gonna love this one. Now, when you're working with a big file with a lot of symbols and a lot of symbol overrides, your symbol space just starts looking, well, a little bit like a mess. So, Symbols Organizer helps you get everything really tidy. So let me show you an example here. This is an actual library that I was creating, an actual symbols page of a document. And as you can see, it was starting to get really crazy here. With this plugin, it was really easy to just organize everything. So go to plugins, and then symbol organizer, and then you can configure how you want to organize it. You can do it horizontal or vertical, and then where do you want to start your grouping on the second or third definition or fourth. The definitions are defined by a slash on your naming conventions. So for example, button slash secondary or button slash whatever. And here you set different parameters on the spacing, and also you can add a group title. I'm going to add that. I'm going to leave this as the default, and then I'm going to gather symbols from other pages. Sometimes that happens. You have a symbol in different pages and you cannot even find them. So this will do the work for you. So I'm going to organize them and see how the magic did happen. Everything is now organized. It even has a title here. Everything is looking really, really good. So I highly recommend using this plugin to keep all your documents really well organized. Now, Symbols Manager is another plugin to help you organize your symbols, but this is not on the artboards or on the pages. This plugin allows you to organize the name and grouping of your symbols. One disclaimer is that this plugin is paid. I would say that if you're starting to have a giant file and if you're working with a lot of different clients, probably it does merit the amount. It's $5. So let me just show you how it works. I'm going to go back to my example here, and I have everything is organized and it's looking good, but probably the naming conventions of it is not that great. So I'm going to plugins, symbol manager, and I'm just going to manager, and then here it opens a window that shows me the different naming of my symbols. And as you can see, for example, I name one glyph and another one glyphs. So I could probably move this one, this one, I can just rename it. And now it's going to be glyph, and that way this one should be part of this group. For example, color, probably, let's say state. State should be probably part of this folder, the button folder. So I'm going to go to the button folder, and I'm going to drag this folder over here. And now all of the symbols that are name, state, slash, whatever, now they will be added that naming convention there. It's pretty easy. It's pretty cool when when your symbols are starting to get a little bit crazy. So this helps you with that. Now in Sketch 47, they introduce libraries, which is one of the coolest things ever. You can have one source of truth where different documents are pulling symbols from that one single library. The thing is that sometimes when you already have a document, an iteration of something, and you want to create a new document with those same artboards that already have those symbols that are coming from a library, just want to copy and paste them in a different document. And once you copy and paste the symbols from a library into a different document, that link is lost. You lose that link. So this plugin allows you to put that link back together. So I'm going to show you here on libraries test. So I'm going to copy a couple of artboards, and these artboards are using symbols from a library. So I'm going to just copy this artboards. As you can see here on my pages, you will see that there's no symbols page because all the symbols are coming from a library. I'm going to create a new document. And then here on the document, I'm going to paste those artboards. Now that I pasted those artboards, now I have a symbols page. And there you go. Now all of those symbols are there. They're not organized. They're not linked to the library. It's looking like a mess. So all I have to do is go to plugins and then library symbol replacer. And then I'm going to go to replace symbols from a new library. And that way I can just select a library where I want to pull the symbols from. I'm going to go to where I have my libraries saved. It's Carbon iOS 11 library. That's the one. And boom, the plugin found 25 symbols to import with 51 different instances, which is pretty cool. I would have had to do that all over again. So I just import it, and then it's asking me, hey, do you want to get rid of these symbols because you don't need them anymore? So I'm going to say yes, delete them. And now my symbols page is empty because there are no more symbols embedded in this document. They're all coming from a library. As you can see here, boom, this is coming from a library again, which is pretty cool. It saves you a lot of time. One disclaimer is that Sketch is actually working on solving this natively. So before Sketch actually solves it, you're going to have to be using this plugin. Now, one of my favorite plugins is AutoLayout. And AutoLayout allows you to design responsive screens in Sketch. And yeah, that sounds like a giant promise, but that's actually what it does. It allows you to create, for example, I'll keep the same padding between elements and organize and align how you want them to be aligned. So for example, I have these different shapes, 3 different shapes. And right now, the spacing between these shapes, I'm going to zoom in, is 24. And I want to always have that spacing between those pages as 24. So I go to here to the Anima AutoLayout plugin. I'm going to create a stack here, create a stack group, and boom. Here in the menu, I can align them vertically, I can align them horizontally, I can align them to the left, center. Right now, you cannot see the change because they're all the same size. Let me change the size of this one. See how, if I change the size, boom, it aligns to the center. Why? Because the stack, I said that it's aligned to the center. But if I wanted to, I can align it to the left. Now, let's see, sometimes the elements start growing and start getting bigger. So let's say that this one starts getting a little bit bigger. See how it pushes the content below? That's like magic. So see, the padding of 24 pixels is still there. If I were to move this guy over here, boom, see how the others are following it. And if I were to want to move this guy over here, it's going to say, no. Where are you going? You belong to this stack. Get back there. So let me show you another example. Another example here, this one, I make a little bit smaller. Right now, it's not a stack. So if I make it bigger, the padding is lost, right? But let's actually make it a stack. And that way, I will keep that same. So right now, the spacing between them is 24. So if I were to make this a little bit smaller, boom, see how things fall into place. Pretty cool. And if I were to make it a little bit smaller, well, if I were to move it like this, everything aligns. This actually is pretty good with text. So for example, here I have this stack, and sometimes, I don't know, your PM will tell you, we don't need as many descriptions of this product. Let's get rid of them. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, the padding on this. So let's say that you remove this, and look at that. The padding keeps it the same. It does all the moving for you. Pretty cool. Not only that, but you can also move elements around. So for example, this button, let's say that I want to move it to the bottom. Boom, I move it to the bottom, and then all the rest of the elements align. This is one of the staples. This is one of the basic plugins that you have to install. AutoLayout. Now, when you want to present your work on a device or probably on a marketing site where you want to showcase your app, how it looks on an iPhone X or whatever, you want to use a plugin called Magic Mirror plugin. This plugin promises magic, and let me tell you, it delivers. So here, for example, I have different artboards of different images that I want to use. These are my final designs, but I want to put them on a device. So all I have to do is go over here to a shape. This is just a rectangle shape. And I have to turn on this. So I'm going to go to Magic Mirror 3. I'm going to enable it. And once it's enabled, you're going to see it over here. I'm going to make this smaller. And now I can select a different artboard for this one. So I'm going to select this one with Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. And let's put over here the other one. So this one I'm going to select, Mr. Bruce Willis. There you go. Look at that. Looking handsome, right? But that's pretty cool. Whatever. It's flat. You could have done that too, right? But what about perspective? This is where it starts getting pretty cool. So here, imagine trying to do that. You will probably need to do it in Photoshop, right? So here, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to select Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. And boom, look at that. Puts it like that. But I mean, it's not only Leonardo DiCaprio. You can also put a design with different layers, with different text, everything. It would create the image for you. So it looks pretty good. It does the job, and I highly recommend it. Let's do the other one over here. By the way, these mockups were created by Meng To. And they're called Angle if you want to check those out, and they're all vector. It's pretty nice. Let me show you another one. On this one, let's also put Mr. Bruce Willis looking good. Let's put over here a different one. Let's put this one. You get the idea. It allows you to do image perspective inside a shape and without having to open Photoshop or other programs like that. Now, sometimes when you're designing something, you're just copying elements, copying groups, duplicating stuff, and then the naming of your layers starts getting a little bit crazy. So you will have copy 1, copy duplicate 2, and copy 2, rectangle 1. You want to get rid of those names and you want to put more significant names, but you don't want to be typing each one of them. So this plugin allows you to do it like that. So over here, for example, on my layers list, you're going to see that all of these are called group. So I don't want them to be called group. I want them to be called cards. So I'm going to go over here. All of these, look at these beautiful faces. I'm going to all these groups. I'm going to go to plugins, rename it, rename selected layers, and I'm going to say card. Also something here, sometimes you want to add a sequence of a number or a page name or something. It allows you to actually do that. So let's actually do that. And let's say that number ascending. I put this shortcut. I could have done this, but I also have this button to do it. And I'm going to rename it. And now you're going to see here on my layers list, I have card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4. It does the job for me. Now, let's say, for example, these guys over here, these layers, I'm going to select all of these layers. And as you can see, all of these layers, they're called different stuff. They're not exactly what I want them to be called. So I just go to Command Control R, which is the shortcut to open this window. And then I'm just going to call them avatar. And boom, it changes the name of all those layers and it makes your life a little bit easier. Now, sometimes you want your designs to look a little bit more realistic and you want to go from wireframe fidelity into high fidelity. And sometimes all you have to do is change those gray boxes into images or change those lorem ipsums into actual text. So Content Generator allows you to do that like that. So for example, here, let's say I have these little guys here and all of these are supposed to represent an image of a person. So instead of downloading images of different people, all you have to do is go to plugins, Content Generator, and then here it gives you some options. It gives you images and you can select images from Flickr, from Instagram, or from a specific folder where you have images. Or you can also do something that I really like. It's persona. And in persona, you can select photos and then you can select if it is female, male, or neutral. Let's actually put female. There you go. It puts photos of women there. And now I want to do the same, but with the text values. Here, I want to actually replace these with names of women. So I'm going to go to plugins, again, Content Generator. And here on persona, I can also select names. And then I can say female and male, male, or just female. And then it puts random names of different women there. It's pretty cool. It's not just personas, but it does different things. For example, here on these titles, I'm going to go to plugins, Content Generator, text. Let's say that you want, I don't know, the names of cities in France. There you go. This is just something that will help you make your designs look a little bit more realistic, and that's all. Now, if you're working with material design, if you're working on an Android app or a web app where you're using Google's material design, this plugin will save you a lot of time too, because this plugin allows you to put all of these different patterns from material design right here on Sketch. So, for example, let's say that I have a text layer that is called button. And right now, it's just a text layer. Normal text layer is nothing. But if I go to plugins and sketch material, I can go to button and then say what type of button I want to turn this text layer into. I'm going to say raise button. And look at that. It just it just did the job for me, which is pretty cool, right? But it's not just that. It's not just buttons. You can also add like chips, like the tags that you put there. So for example, here I'm going to say sketch and plugins 2017. Probably I don't want this one, and I don't want this one, and I want it to be color chips. So I generate them. So I'm going to zoom out to actually see them, and you can see them here. Over here, everything is done for me. It's kind of cheating, to be honest. Not just that, everything, dialogues, forms, icons, snack bars. So forms is actually amazing because look at forms. You can just like say, hey, a text value, but I want another one, and this one instead of text, I want it to be a drop down, and you can put the different placeholders. So title, and here, I don't know, name, I don't know why. And let's add another one, and this one is going to be instead of drop down, let's say checkboxes. And then here I can add multiple options. And here, see how it's generating this form? It's giving me a preview of it. Once I generate it, I'm going to zoom out, and we can see it here. Look at that. It's all there. Again, it's like cheating. It's not fair. Now, another plugin that most designers will have installed is Craft by Envision. And this plugin allows you to do a lot of things because it's kind of like a family of plugins. So one of the first things that you can do with it is sync your artboards with a prototype on Envision, or actually create a new prototype from here. So for example, here, let's select this artboard, and I go here to sync. And boom, I can just select a specific prototype, or I can create a new one. That is one of the plugins inside this family, but it also has libraries, which allows you to have a library of different textiles and colors and different elements that you want to be using across different documents. You can use libraries for that. You can also use data, and this one is like content generator, but actually this one is actually pretty cool because you can connect to the web. So you can actually go to a specific website and grab data from the web and put it on your design. Then there's this one that's called duplicate. To be honest, I don't really use this one too much, but it allows you to create grids, vertical and horizontal grids. If you want to do that, you can use it there. Now, another one that is pretty cool, whenever you want to collaborate with different people and your designs, you can put them on something called Freehand. It's a web app that allows you to put all of your artboards and invite other people to collaborate, put comments, draw on top of them, and put notes. And something else is that it syncs with iStock and Getty images. So if you're looking for a stock image that you want to use, you can just search for it here. So let's search for dogs. There you go. Now I have different photos of dogs that I can put in my designs. Pretty cool. And last but not least, you can also create prototypes inside Sketch with this plugin. So over here on this little lightning bolt, you turn it on, and now you can create prototypes inside Sketch. So let me create another artboard here. And here, I'm going to say that if I click here, it takes me to this artboard. So I just press C for craft, I guess, or for create. And then I point to this, and then I select what type of link it is and what type of gesture I want it to be. I want it to be tap. And then I can also even select what kind of transition I want it to be. Dissolve, push left. I add the link. And then once I'm ready, I can sync this prototype with the sync function into Envision, and then it will create a prototype for me. Pretty cool. Now, sometimes you want to add redlining to your documents to add the distance between the elements, the sizing of the elements. So doing that, it will take you a lot of time. But this plugin called Measure allows you to do it like that. So for example, here, you will see this is how it looks, the distancing, the spacing, the sizing. So let's do it right here. So for example, I have this element, this group, and I want to know the size of it and put it in my document because I probably want to export it. So I'm going to go to plugins and then sketch measure. I'm going to open the toolbar, and then here in the toolbar, it tells me what I can do. So I'm going to say, give me the distance. And there you go. I now have the distance of these elements. I can move them around if I wanted to. There you go. And then let's say that I want to have the distance between this text layer and this other text layer. So I select those two, and then I select this one, and boom. Now it gives me this text layer that is telling me how many pixels are between those two layers. Pretty cool. It saves you a lot of time. It's not the only things that it does. It does a lot of other stuff. So I recommend you checking it out. And that's it. Now, the last one. This one is actually not a plugin. This is actually an app. And this app allows you to reduce the size of your sketch files. And sometimes when you're working with a lot of different iterations, when you're importing images from the web, when you're copying and pasting stuff into your document starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So this app allows you to reduce the different image sizes, remove broken images, delete hidden layers, stuff that you don't want in your document and is just making space. And your files go from 100 megabytes into 30 megabytes, which is a huge difference in the performance. Smaller files work a little bit faster. So that's it. Those are my sketch plugins. Probably I'm going to do another one that are just plugins for handoff, and probably another one just for plugins on prototyping. If you have a favorite plugin that you want to share, leave it in the comments with a link too, so other people can also use it, and probably a description so other people know what the plugin does. And that's it. Thank you so much. Love you. Bye-bye.